Hello again. Ready for some more disorganized mess, trying to teach you how to make some modeling. In this case, I've got my PowerPoint open to a corporate PPA, but this is going to be part two of this model. And uh, I left off in part one with some babbling on about uh, um, the I left off babbling about. I hope I'm okay. I think it's okay. I left off. Get started. I left off babbling about the setting up of a model. It turned out I really wanted to get to this issue, and I don't know. I'm going to review a little bit, but this incredible assignment that this young intern had never even seen any kind of finance before. And I think maybe, I can't remember, in undergraduate, would you have a project finance class? I doubt it, but they were supposed to go through P50, P90, uh, uh, and they have some PPA prices, escalators, capacity factors, and so forth. And we're going to go through some of the operations in this video. Now, I suppose one of the good things, if I can say that, about these crazy tax equity transactions is you really, uh, uh, it really forces you almost to separate things out and get the operating cash flows first. Now, if I've shown you much earlier, but if you go, here's the website. If you go to this tax equity section, I've got a bunch of real models, and then I've got this kind of. This was another classic waste of time in my life. Uh, uh, we can look at some other projects. These, if you get a 10% pre-tax IRR, and then you can get the ITC. It's an incredible return. Here's one that's more reasonable. So what we try to do is take a 3% IRR, get an after-tax ungeared, unlevered IRR of somewhere in this kind of range, give a whole lot of our return to the tax equity, put our own, see how much the sponsor gets, and we can either sell the project or not sell the project. It shouldn't give you this kind of different. Oh, no. This is if we put the debt at the project level or the back leverage. And where's the one to say we sell the project? I can't remember. But all right, let's leave it. Okay, I'm saving this one because this is a little bit better. So that's the idea is we're going to work on the yellow box, and then we're going to take this cash flow, this partnership, this should say after-tax hypothetical unlevered IRR because you don't actually get it because the taxes go down to these two partners, and we split the taxes and the cash flow on a different basis between the two partners, and we can sell the asset and go forward. So that's where we're going, and let's go back to our model. So the first thing is I'm going to go back to an input in our model. Again, just a tiny little review. This kind of crap, maybe these things should be in a time series sheet. These things should not be stuck over here at all, because if you don't stuck anything over, you can go to the side then and make a scenario, including these inflation rates and everything else. So all these, I've seen these tax equity models and these people, I don't know where they learned this crap. They just don't even set the inputs right. But we've got a little bit of a problem. And our problem is that in the assumptions, they started and they said this net capacity factor, and then they have this ridiculous AC to DC ratio. And what we should do is whenever we put this in, put it in. Now, the poor person who did this, I don't think he understood that this AC to DC. AC is after the inverter and DC, and we put 1.2%. Well, of course, it's shift control 1.24, and we can call this DC divided by AC. And if you put your, and even this, you could put MWP, and then you could put DC, MWP, and then we could put MWAC. Whoops. Okay, and maybe this idiot, I'm sorry, who gave this assignment, I don't know what they wanted to do, just torture somebody? Well, I'm doing that, but and then we can put, and it's not really rate capacity, it's rated capacity, and then we can copy this down and put MWAC. And since it's inverse, we will divide it, okay, and then we only get, maybe I'll put shift control Q and shift control Q, we only get 181 of capacity, and then we put this capacity factor, and we better be clear, he didn't tell you that the capacity factor using MWAC, not MW, fine, it did a whatever, and this one, now using MWAC. Now I'm sorry I'm doing this kind of stuff, but I just switched the video on and decided, what the hell, let's just do it. So there we go. We have the starting point, okay, and then let's go up here and start to get our inputs. Now we put the rated capacity and then the degradation, and he called this the production curve, and it came. Now I fixed this because before it was all messed up. We used a lookup function, and so we should always start, I hope, to me it just is so obvious with this, and perhaps we should even go upstairs and put the rated capacity and just be extremely transparent and put MWP, and then we put AC/DC ratio, and this time put an equal, and how about 1 divided by the input, and how about shift control W? I've got the generic macros open, MWAC, and if we right now look at the unlevered IRR, and I don't know what this crap is down here. Oh, I asked him to do it on a P99, so this is actually okay. We need to, let me just stop for a minute. We're going to have in our model, we're going to have P50 and P99 cash flow, EBITDA. We're going to take away the taxes from that, which is going to be a lot of crap in there, and we got to have P55 and P99 because we got to compute the debt size and the debt sculpting at both P50 and P99, P99 1 year. I've got too many. I'm not going to get into that one. What's 10 year versus 1 year? Fine, that's got everything in it. Whatever. It's the lowest number you can find, period. It sounds fancy to put 1 year versus 10 year. And I think I forgot what the DSCR is. I assume the DSCR on the P99 was 1.0, but you need to compute the debt P50 and P99. You need all that stuff in. You need to compute EBITDA twice. What a pain, but you have to do it. There's kind of no magic here to put a little scenario number and put one P50, two P99. No, don't do that. You can't. It's not like other scenarios. You have to put both in it. You got it? Don't be like Max and start arguing about every little thing like that. You have to do that. Let's put Shift Control 7 if you want to put a little thing here. And so we have our rated capacity in NWP. Well, okay, I showed you which is this one, and put an equal sign. We can press F4, multiply this one by the operation phase. That's probably what you should do. Whoops. Okay, and then we can, if we want, carry this forward. Okay, and this time let's just multiply this by that, so we really didn't need the input, but what the heck. And now we're going to do all of our production curve, which is, what the heck is this? Excuse me, this is the degradation. And this is a horrible way to do degradation. God damn. Ugh. Put degradation. Make it a little transparent. DG rate, and put a percent, and let's get our degradation rate from our input. You know, these are the reason it's green. It comes from a different sheet. When you press Control-Alt-C with your Control-Alt-C with your generic macros, you'll get that, and put the degradation in here. Shift-Control-P, put an equal sign, and take that degradation, open the bracket, 1 plus, that's the annual degradation. So you press F4, you raise it to the 1 divided by, and then you shouldn't put 4 here. You should put quarter. And do we have a quarter? Quarters per year. There, you have to understand it. And it doesn't work. Oh, shit. We don't have quarters, so I'm going to put 4 minus 1. That's illegal, of course. Okay, and you don't divide it by 4. I forgot what he did. It was 1 plus that raised to the thing, but then he divided it. And let's be a lot more transparent and put our degradation index. Now, somebody told me once that what you theoretically should do is put a 1 here. Whoops. Let's start with a 1 here. And you should add the degradation and then divide it. So I'll do that. I'm not sure. I've seen more times when you subtract it, it's got a tiny little effect. When you do this, you multiply it by the operation phase. So you just start the degradation in the right period and you turn it off. And we put 1 plus the degradation rate. That's all we do, put an index. And we notice that that does not begin until the operation phase. And I suppose I have my formula switched off. No, I don't. Whoops. What? Oh, what happened? No, it's fine. Come on. Come on. Oh, Jesus. This one times 1 plus the... times the, oh, I'm losing it so badly. Somebody in my last class asked, are you really too old to be doing Excel? They really did. I said, yeah, maybe. Maybe I am. So then we put our, I don't know, let's get rid of this. Now, to make sure you can get rid of this, you put Alt-MD. And, oh, why in the hell did it go down there? Jesus. Oh, I don't care. I'm redoing the whole damn thing. Okay, and I'm saying, okay, this is our, up here, it's kind of a repeat. We put the seasonality and then we repeated it, okay? And then let's put the up here. Why don't we put if I could do this in order, let's put the production per year. And if you want to get fancy, why, it's so easy. Put days in the period, okay, and get rid of this thing, and you just put equal the end date minus the start date plus 1, and let's make it really transparent and put hours in period. I really didn't want to do this. I swear, I thought, oh, this is going to be a really fast little video. And I'm going to assume there are 24 hours in a day. There's that 1 day and 2 days where it's not because of the stupid daylight savings time stuff. And then we can put production before, don't call it production curve. Production before degradation. Okay, and let's put that in MWH. Let's get rid of this thing and let's multiply the, move this up. Okay, this is really boring. God, how easy is this? Okay, we have the hours times the megawatts that are after the reduction from the AC to DC. We multiply that by this is this shit, I got it. Oh man, these goddamn people. Okay, where is the capacity factor? We've got to be transparent. I am really sorry. Okay. Doing this. Okay, so the what a waste of time. I'm sorry. Maybe let me see if I can edit a few of that stuff out. But we've now put the AC to DC ratio, the days in the period. Then we put the capacity factor in at P50, and you gotta know one crucial thing. You gotta do this whole thing at P50, and then I had him do it down here. Her at P90, P99, okay? And I think you should put the degradation index, and you can put the net annual production in, and it's really a good idea to have a sum column. That should be almost a law. I never used to do that, and Hetty told me, no, what are you doing? You not only have to do that, you got to color it, you got to do everything. So we have the where's our annual production? Shift Control V for Victor, and that's I didn't really want that one. Shift Control W, Shift Control V. Okay, so, and we have the net generation and all what I did. Okay, and production after degradation, and this should be the annual still, and this should be essentially divided by 4, and I have it in a different column. Fuck it. Shut. Ooh. Okay. And then we put the PPA prices in. Let me just talk about the PPA prices for just a minute. Okay, this is okay. We put them in, and then we make a new flag. This made so much more sense, except there's no if. Damn, why would you do that? Why would you waste your time with something like that? Okay, I'm sure this was supposed to be really fancy, but let's just screw the ifs. Okay, then we put in our, now the first PPA got 60% of the production, and it was a PPA that's 38 US dollars per megawatt hour, and escalation, we should put maybe a percent PA, was 2%. And what happened here? Oh no, where's the escalation? Oh, the escalation is all done in one thing. I'm going to leave this for once, but it would of course been so much better to put a separate index. And the person who did this, I'm not blaming at all, because they were looking at some other models in the bank, and it was just a joke, just a complete joke, just a joke. This PPA had no inflation. It took 35% instead of 60% of the output. And then they got some renewable energy credits as well. And finally, we go down to the merchant, and I think we don't even need, that's a pure merchant flag. What you really just need is to take the remaining production, which is just the difference, production, and we should be really care remaining. Okay, and almost underline that. And then we put the merchant price. And if you're going to do a sensitivity on anything, you better do the merchant price. And we better, here we put a little check using all of our sum functions to make sure it's all okay. Now, you could also go down and put the levelized cost of electricity, which is net present value of all of the revenues divided by the net present value of all the expenses. I'm not itching. There are no flies in here. The hotel eats $15 US a night, but it's really okay. Okay, and I get in trouble for that. You're so cheap. Well, I'm cheap because I don't make any money. Okay, I shouldn't have said that. Okay, so we get our total revenue. I don't know why. Screw it. I like to press Shift Control E. Okay, and I think we're okay. Can I just talk about one thing that's really distorted here? This project is almost certainly a corporate PPA. These PPAs are almost certainly corporate PPAs, and there was this little thing to put the cost of a security bond or something in here. But if it's a corporate PPA, it's easy to get confused. And I'm just going to digress for a little bit. I can go all over the place. I don't care. And say, please explain something. But corporate PPAs are now a big deal. And I was supposed to have a class that would actually pay me, and then they canceled it. And if you're going to understand a corporate PPA, you've got to understand a regular PPA. And I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but understand the very basics of a PPA or any contract is allocation of risk. Okay, and if you allocate risks in an appropriate way and get rid of some of the merchant risks, then you can get some financing. And here are some of the big points I want to make. Risk allocation, a big contract is a marriage contract. It can really stink. And they don't allow merchant exposure in a marriage, I don't think. You're not supposed to, at least, maybe, okay? they allow merchant exposure. You're allowed to go out and get some merchant stuff in a corporate PPA. That's the big difference. And then we try to lock in prices with some kind of broker or marketer, some big bank. And they'll go and lock in a forward price for 10 years or 15 years. Kind of in this example, that was a 20-year one. I wonder if they locked in the prices. But then to confuse you, they say we could either have a swap contract or a contract for difference. And what's the difference? Oh, it's so hard to work through that. And then this could be a P99 hedge. And this P99 hedge is the most incredible BS ever. To call this P99. P99, they do this P99 hour by hour by hour. So you take the P99, if it's below the P99, you got to buy power. Above the P99, you can sell power. When you sell power, it's probably when a whole bunch of solar is running. The price is going to be less. When you buy power, no solar is going to be running. It's going to be more. Wind is even more extreme. A P99 hedge is not 99%. You understand? Oh, I hope you had one tiny little statistics class one time and you saw that the standard deviation, if you take a whole bunch of numbers, there's a correlation. This is what Dr. Markowitz, or no, he wasn't a doctor. I think he won the Nobel Prize for portfolio theory in the 50s, saying we can diversify stocks because the standard deviation of a bunch of stocks, if they're independent, is less than the others. And the standard deviation of a bunch of hours, the standard deviation across a year is gigantically less than the standard deviation in an hour. And you're going to be selling power in hours. This fundamental standard deviation idea is not in there. Why do they bother calling it P99 hedge? It's annual P99 used for financing. They try to apply that in some kind of a PPA contract. How ridiculous, but that's what they do. And then there are different kind of contracts ranging from something called a revenue swap, which is, for me, totally ridiculous, where you wouldn't have any a generation risk, where somebody else takes the weather risk, somebody else takes the production risk. What you're supposed to do as a developer is figure out a place to put the solar that's pretty sunny. And somebody takes that risk away, it just distorts everything. And then, everybody loves to do these skipping a couple of ERCOT. Denmark is so much more interesting. I'm sorry, because Denmark, this website, they publish the amount of wind you have, and you can show the wind compared to the merchant price, and you can really do a study of what happens when the wind is higher and what happens when the wind is lower to those prices. So I have a whole bunch of slides that I started to do, and I'm going to put these slides together and really go through it in detail in another video, but I wanted to just kind of introduce things here because I've been working on it and now I don't know what to do with it. And what will ultimately happen is there'll be some real merchant risk during these during the period of the corporate PPAs. And then we've got operating costs, and we put the inflation rates, and some of them, like insurance, didn't inflate, and all the rest of it. And they try to trick you kind of by saying, okay, we have some maintenance that only goes from year 1 to year 5, and then oh, please. Oh, God. Oh, I'm so sad. I worked with this wonderful person on all the tax equity, and I didn't work on this page. And I'm so sad about this formula. What an example of what not to do. You put a little flag in there, you put 2 lines in there, and you get it. Okay? That's so basic. And then we put now on the CapEx, I kind of went through with you on oh no, this one I can't even see. It's supposed to be a lookup function. Oh God. So we got to fix that one. I'm sorry. We have a construction period. Why in the heck can't you put lookup and we have our period. Remember, lookup, index, and sum if is all you really need, nothing else. If I could get it here, you put lookup, and then you click on the let's figure out what we're going to get. Oh God. Okay. The person said they watched my videos. I can't. I'm so sad. And then we put this was the CapEx spend schedule. So we've got a quarter number instead of a date. And I suppose we then, unfortunately, if we would do this right, we would put construction quarter number. I can't even see anymore. We put an equal sign, you go backwards, and you don't put this in the stupid timesheet. You just put it right here. Shift Control R and Shift Control 1. So we have our quarter number, and then instead of all this junk, you put lookup. Okay, you go up to the quarter number, and then you go to the input page, and you put that one in, and then you put this one in, and then before we do that, oh, don't worry about that NA. You could actually use XLOOKUP, but just in case, a lot of people don't seem to have XLOOKUP yet, you put this here, and you put a 0, and you put a 5 to turn it on and off. Okay, and that's how it should have been done. Okay, so when I give you this file, 5, then I hope you're there are a couple things that are not working, and then we have it. And did I? Oh no, okay. And if you want, I suppose, to make absolutely sure it turns off, you just multiply this by the construction phase, okay? And I'm going to start moaning, and I guess we put the sums here. Okay, and we put Shift Control V for Victor, and we get 100%, and we test it out. So then we multiply the cost by our construction curves. I don't know why this is red. If you reset everything, I didn't reset things because I like these little blue things here. So we should get rid of all these yellow and red things here. And we have the total costs. And then once you have the total cost, the EBITDA, of course, is revenues minus the expenses. CapEx, you just did up there, including this. And now it looks like after I've done this, the CapEx is a whole lot more than the EBITDA. And we can see immediately that there's a problem. And I've got to just delay the. Now the mistake was made. You put whether it's dollar per megawatt hour. This is not dollars per kilowatt hour, because that would be enormous. Okay, and then you put megawatt hours. You don't put all this kilowatt hours and mix up the kilowatt hours with the megawatt hours. And there was a divide by 1,000 problem in here that I didn't really have to show you. And then we'll go down. Oh, shit. Okay, I just kind of abruptly stopped. I don't know where I'm going to edit this video, but when I put the hours in the period that was wrong, we need an annual number, and then we multiply that by our seasonality. I'm very sorry about that. And then at the end of the day, after we made that adjustment for AC/DC, blah, 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 we get a IRR, and we put our total EBITDA in and our total construction 2.82%. And that sounds extremely low, but It's really not that bad because we're going to get all the ITC benefits. We don't have to pay 30% of the upfront cost. And by the way, when you do these kind of O&M in the summary page, I hope you show what's the, oh shoot, okay, we'll do this one later. The first year O&M, the O&M per KW was about 14, including insurance and property tax and everything else. That sounds okay. So I would check some of these kind of numbers. This cost per KW when we put the total CapEx divided by the MWP, that's high. I really think it is. But because US, you have to pay so much more for panels because of the tariffs and all that, maybe it's not that bad. We'll talk about all of that. Okay, and that's that one. And then we're going to go to the inputs for the tax. And now we're going to put the taxes in the next video. I might take a whole video on that, and then I'm going to make another allocation to the partners on another video, back leverage on another video, maybe construction financing and back leverage together, and then the cash flow waterfall with the final IRR, the borrowing the back leverage and the final IRR. So we're going to go through page by page by page, and originally I thought I could get this video all finished in one go, and I really can't. Okay, and so let's stop this before, if anybody's still watching this would be remarkable.